In this module, we'll learn how to treat hypos quickly and restore blood glucose levels back to normal. First of all, you should always test your blood glucose if you think you may be low. If you don't have your blood glucose meter to hand, you should treat a hypo straight away. Treating hypos quickly decreases the risk of a severe hypo occurring and reduces the risk of hypo unawareness. You should carry a hypo treatment kit with you wherever you go. Keeping a hypo treatment on you at all times will ensure you are never unable to treat a hypo if your blood glucose falls low. A hypo treatment kit should include quick-acting carbohydrates and slow-acting carbohydrates. The first thing to do when treating a hypo is to consume 15 to 20 grams of quick-acting carbohydrate. These sources of sugar include 3 to 6 glucose or dextrose tablets, 5 Jelly Baby sized sweets, 4 or 5 sugar lumps, 150 to 200 millilitres of a sugary drink, such as half a can of full sugar cola or lemonade, or 200 millilitres of a fruit juice. Glucose or dextrose is the fastest way to treat a hypo. Sugar is broken down into glucose by the body, and foods that contain carbohydrate are broken down into glucose the most quickly. Chocolate or candy bars should not be the first choice of treatment because they won't raise your blood glucose levels as quickly as other alternatives. To prevent your blood glucose falling again after the initial treatment, you might also need 15 to 20 grams of slow-acting carbohydrate. This can keep your blood glucose at a normal range after the hypo has been treated. Examples of slow-acting carbohydrate include a sandwich, a piece of fruit, or a cereal bar. You might not need to take this step, but you should do so if your blood glucose continues to fall once you've treated the hypo. Check your levels 10 to 15 minutes after you've treated the hypo. If your blood glucose levels are still below 4.0 millimoles per litre or 72 milligrams per decilitre, then repeat the hypo treatment. If you've been unable to detect or quickly treat a hypo, you may experience a severe hypo. This can result in a seizure or loss of consciousness. If you carry an emergency hypo treatment injection, you will need somebody to read the instructions and administer it. This can help raise your blood glucose much quicker than consuming fast-acting carbs. It is worth making sure that at least one member of your family, a friend, and someone you live or work with knows how to administer your emergency hypo treatment injection. A member of your healthcare team may be able to provide training should you require it. Wearing medical identification will enable someone to call an ambulance and understand what's happening to you if you experience a seizure or convulsions. Once you've treated a hypo, you should always note down the details of the episode and how it was treated so that you can discuss this with your diabetes care team. Even if you have managed to treat a hypo yourself and it's not been a severe hypo, your diabetes care team will be able to determine if any lifestyle or treatment changes can be made to reduce your risk of hypos in the future. Did you know that glucose or dextrose is the fastest way to treat a hypo? This is because the sugar is broken down into glucose by the body, and foods that contain simple carbohydrate are broken down into glucose the most quickly. Food with complex carbohydrates, such as highly processed white bread, takes longer to be broken down by the body. These are not so good for immediate treatment of a hypo, but can be useful for keeping blood sugar at a normal level after a hypo. It's always better to treat a hypo with pure sugar sources such as glucose tablets or sweets.